Hi there. Um, this is another video. I'm making another update on. I wanted to do a video today because of primarily because of what's going on in what's on the new on the media, mainly what's been coming out on the news and that. I don't look at the news much in that. Myself, I look at what I mainly look at is non-mainstream media updates and information on that they might be showing mainstream media, but I don't go off out of my way to look at mainstream media. But even you wouldn't even have to look at mainstream media to really find out what I've been hearing lately of what's going on with our uh, with I will name this man because he's been named in the media. Um, Mr. Troy, Robert Troy. Um, this as a this man is a Fianna Fáil TD who has been collecting. He's a landlord, and he's been. If you don't know who he is, I'd say everyone knows who he is at this stage. But for the ones who don't out there, he's a landlord as a Fianna Fáil TD, and he owns in the range of like 10 plus properties. And he didn't disclose a number of properties with the RTB, which is Residential Tenancy Board, for for him to pay tax on rent on as a landlord to collect rent. And it's not just him, but other people um, out there who've been actually who've also been um, who've been kind of portrayed. And there's other people who have been other politicians. I suppose they have been caught, yeah, being caught, but they've been kind of exposed as well. And my oh my, um, Robert Troy, my oh my, I know I'm shout out to you, Robert Troy, um, because and to the others, I know I've mentioned your name, but you're on the public figure, um, you're on as a public figure, you are mentioned on you're all over the media at the moment, and not just yourself, but Leo Varadkar and Micheál Martin as well. Varadkar backed him up. Um, you know, was defending him on what was going on. Um, you know, Varadkar defended Robert Troy before Robert Troy apologized. Gave an apology about that, and then Varadkar like defended um he before Robert Troy came out with the apology. Leo Varadkar basically defended him as if he'd done absolutely nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong. He doesn't know an apology sort of thing. And then Robert Troy comes out with an apology. So Varadkar was he lying? Well, this is just the typical shambles and the corruption and that goes on within the politicians and politics that goes on. Um, you know, Robert Troya, I must ask, did you really forget to register your properties with the RTB? Like, did you really forget? And for the other politicians as well, I've seen a Sinn Féin TD as well, and I'm disappointed that Sinn Féin are in that. There's a lot I could give a reason. There's a lot I could say about that. Sinn Féin being landlords and that. It's a shocker because I found that out recently now as well. But back to what I was saying to Robert Troy. Are you do you feel how do you feel now, Robert Troy? You know, uh, you didn't forget. Did you really forget to collect the rent on the RTB? Did you? Did you really forget to register as a landlord? Because what I'll say and what I'll tell everyone is that he definitely didn't forget to collect rents. When he was collecting rents for them all that time before this came out, he wasn't forgetting to go and collect rent off his tenants, but he forgot to register. And all that money that he would have been milking the taxpayer more and more, or and even the rest as well. The taxpayer is being screwed over, and that taxpayers' money being used for this sort of nonsense. Um, You know, you know, what is it? Robert Troy and the rest of me as well. Um, Micheál Martin as well, and the rest. What is it? Um, how much more this are you going to keep going ahead with? You know, you've gotten away with so much corruption and so much lying for especially with this COVID-19 phenomenon, lying about a lot of the information on that alone. But not only that, but now you're actually even it's coming out so rampantly, more corruption, more than we've ever imagined, and Radcar and Martin as well. You've been standing outside. You've been outside the um, the place where Michael Collins to commemorate Michael Collins. 100 years since Michael Collins died. Well, I tell you, Michael Collins will didn't fight. He didn't fight for the for. He didn't die for what the state of this country is in now, and he'd be an absolutely ashamed to have ye mentioning his name and standing on that on the on the podium, and all those people like clapping like as well, brainwashed by your nonsense. So this Michael Collins didn't die for this. Michael Collins didn't die as a patriot for what you're up to. And I, I would what I will say is that you should just resign and get out of office, and never Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael should never ever be allowed run the country ever again, and that goes for the Green Party as well. Eamon Ryan, you as the leader, I'm calling you out because I am fed up and tired of all this all this ridiculous corruption and all this lying and extortion of money going on, and they're getting if any of us was to do that as a standard citizen, we would be just in prison or we'd be up in court or something. But it seems that these people really seem to think they're above the law. Well, the Gardaí, members of An Garda Síochána, or I'll just say An Garda Síochána specifically, you need to go up and arrest these people and hold them to account and put them up in front of a judge and put them behind bars. Like, you need to start arresting these people because I know you're in a tough position, but like our country is going down is in a rabbit hole by what's going on. But yeah yeah uh, I can't believe this is it's just being let happen, and it seems one day when into the future, at some point into the future, I couldn't exactly tell you when, but they will look back. They probably in 2060 or 70, even longer. They'll look back and say, future generations will look back at the state of this country now and say, what in the God's name was this allowed? How was this allowed by Robert Troy? How was Martin allowed to run the country? How was this all allowed? Why didn't people rebel or stand up against it? And I'll tell you, the movements that I follow, which are Yellow Vest Ireland and Campaign for Truth and all the likes, them movements, we're going to be looked upon as heroes into the future, and people will look in the history in history books, yeah, but it'll be all on maybe on video, on platforms of video on social media on this, and people will say, oh my, look, do at least people try to stand up against it like Yellow Vest and that back in this time. That's the future generations looking back at now. um you know I I Radcar, I just actually recommend that you should resign. Like, you should resign, because think about it. If you resign, you've nothing to lose. You should resign after this year. Okay, I'll give them all of this year till the end of 2022 to resign, because Radcar, you've already served being Taoiseach. You're already going to be on a massive pension, gold-plated pension as it is. So you have nothing to lose. You've already served being Taoiseach, so you're going to get your your lotto style pension. And Micheál Martin as well. Yeah, you can resign. I'll let you finish out your term being Taoiseach, which is at the end of this year, I think, and then you should resign as well. If you would just resign and put the right people in, we need the right people in, of course, to replace them. But that's another whole story. Um, yeah, and Varadkar as well for you. You on journal what has been lies, what has been said as well about landlords wanting to pull out of the property market because they're not making much profits on rents. That post. That's why would the land? I have a question to ask about that post as well. Or when I saw that with the journal, um, why would landlords and landladies be deciding to opt out of the property market now? Like rents are skyrocket high, and they're skyrocketing up and up and up even more. And this is the optimum time to be a landlord, be landlords and landladies, because they're making tremendous fortunes. And I already did a video on that, about how to fix the housing crisis. So that's just, it's wanting to pull out and reduce the taxes for individual landlords and landladies. My oh my, wow, And I just think you probably done that, Radker. You did that, didn't you? Because you want to stay in office. Because a general re-election would have to come along, and you don't really want to have a snap general election because you love to crave that power, don't you? You love to love the power of being, in Taoiseach, or even you are Taoiseach, but even the power you have now, and you don't want to let go of it. Well, it'd be nice if you could resign, because we're just fed up of you. We're really fed up of you. I'm fed up of you anyway. I know there's a good proportion of society that wouldn't be the landlords and landladies making fortunes out of all this. But a lot, I'd say there is a large proportion of people, and it is rising, where we are getting sick of them, sick of you, and sick and tired of you. Um, we, I it's sickening. Like that, it's unbelievable, really. But yeah, you should hang your heads in shame, you know. This isn't the Michael Collins. The Michael Collins didn't fight for this at all, and he mentioning his name and people clapping. Might we are the what I'll say as well is that with yellow vests and the likes of us, we are the modernized versions of Michael Collins today. We're the modern versions of in this century. We're a continuation of Michael Collins and the great patriots that really fought hard for our freedoms, because they had to march and they had to go around marching. Irish volunteers had to march to get out of British rule, and they were stigmatized and looked down on by the public back then, but they didn't give up, and we got freedom, and everyone today that would be in the general public would look back and say fair play, they stood up for themselves. Well, when we do it nowadays, when we're a continuation of that, and the general public are actually ridiculing us, some of it I've seen, calling us names and everything, because we're out here marching or causing disruption. Well, we're a modern. The reason why we're doing it is because we are challenging for our rights are at risk. Our rights are at jeopardy. Our freedoms are being taken away, and we can't let this keep going. And with these people in power, in positions of authority and power, they're not gonna let go unless we try and make some stance. And why can't you see, why, for people who don't like protesters in general, or people like, I'm not singling anyone out, but can you not see us as modern versions of Michael Collins and Padraig Pearse and those great patriots? Can you not see us as modernized versions of that? You know, and because it's shocking, really. But yeah, that's it's unbelievable. Um, you know, Martin, would you consider resigning after this year? After you're done being Taoiseach, you'll be on your big pensions, and Radcar, can you just resign as well because you've already done being Taoiseach? I'll just give you this year as well, and Eamon Ryan, you can go as well, and we'll get the right people in. Would you please consider it, or strongly consider it, or just do it after Christmas, because it's just sickening. Like you're sickening. Like the amount of issues in Ireland that are not being addressed, and it goes way more than just landlords. It's way more. I've explained in my other videos. If you want to go back and look at them, they're all pretty long. I'll admit that, but they're all a bit lengthy. For some of them are lengthy, but you know, I feel like I got out what I wanted to say. But yeah, that's all really I wanted to say. Because you should hang your heads in shame though. Uh, Robert Troy and um, with that going on and Radcar defending, you should hang your heads in shame. You know, this isn't we're not going to put up with this for much longer, and we're gonna peacefully challenge this, and we're going to peacefully get things going, because the Irish people aren't going to take this for any longer. Um, we are our movements are rising. They're um, getting more popular, and numbers are increasing. So you know um, that's all I really wanted to say on that. Because shocking what's going on. But yeah, I'll leave it there, and yeah, talk soon.